rise of luxury apartments. If there's one thing that I love talking about more than money specifically, it's real estate. It's one thing I like talking about more importantly than money specifically itself, just the money itself, is real estate. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me give a shout out to a couple of people also that hit me off with some cash apps. I want to make sure I'm acknowledging everybody. Jerian is in the building with the 7 ball. I appreciate you. Mike, that dude, I appreciate you also with the 5 ball. And Drury says, for preach on, my brother, inspiring words you drop. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you for everybody that hold us down. Let's get into it. I want to talk about the rise of luxury apartments. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get it popping.
The U.S. is in a rental housing crisis.
So we pay $3,060 per month. If I'm really honest, I don't think it's a very good value for money.
How many people have seen these type of apartments and these rows of apartments popping up in a city, popping up in the cities that you visit or whatever? It's not uncommon for you to pay $3,000 plus a month for a luxury apartment. Let me say that again. It's not uncommon for you to pay $3,000 plus a month, depending on what city you're in. Now, if you're in New York, that's a whole nother conversation. Los Angeles, we know that it's a whole nother conversation. But can you imagine paying $3,000 plus a month for a luxury apartment? Hold on to that thought.
Home builders believe the sector is already in a recession, and experts are calling out laws that make building expensive.
40% of the cost of multifamily development is in regulation. We have to do something about that if we're going to build more housing.
Developers have a really hard job, and they regularly work magic.
In major cities like Washington, D.C., developers are working with limited space.
Most parts of this country have exclusionary zoning. The only thing you can build there is single-family homes, often on pretty large lots.
But in the parts of town where big buildings are allowed,
you see a lot of cranes going up. Those cranes are going to build high-rise luxury apartments.
And in fact, this year we're going to see some of the largest number of apartments delivered in the luxury sector than in history, literally.
Why are there so many new luxury apartments? And what could the government do to get more affordable housing onto the market?
Now, if y'all looking for affordable housing, wait on it. The only way that you ever going to really get affordable housing on a mass scale is to move into the hood. Let me say it again for the people that's in the back. The only way that you're going to get affordable housing on a mass scale, because nobody gives a fuck about people that's not paying, because the government is not the ones that invest in real estate. It is developers. And what developers are looking for is the same thing that people that are investing in Apple stock is looking for, a return on their investment. And so the only way that you're ever going to get, let me say it again, the only way that you're ever going to get affordable housing is to move into a very, very undesirable neighborhood and then wait on it. It's just a fact.
When it comes to city real estate, the biggest luxury is location.
If you can just walk from your apartment into a metro station and head on about your day, that's pretty great.
That is the thing that a lot of people don't understand, because that's what you're paying for. And a lot of this came from DC and New York, right? Because what people realize, and what my homie did, I remember, shout out to my dog, Julian Rooks. Julian Rooks, a long time ago, we was actually both working at Rouge Steel. Back when we was like 18, 19 years old, we both had got into the plant. We was killing it. We was making a lot of money. Julian wound up leaving and going over to New York. And what he did was he sold his car. And he justified the cost of it. And this is in the early 2000s. He justified the cost of it because he said, listen, I ain't got to pay no car insurance. I ain't got to pay no car note no more. I ain't got to do no maintenance. I ain't got to pay for gas. And so when he started calculating the cost of it, and then he started taking into consideration what the lifestyle was supposed to be that he wanted, he said, listen, I can be more immersed in the culture of what it is that I really want to see, instead of being separated from it and then paying for all of these other things in order to get to it when I really want to go over there. And so if I want to live there as a single young man, then I'm going to have to give up something and make a sacrifice. And that is what a lot of these pitches are coming from, right? They're coming into play because a lot of people are more focused on lifestyle than they are on what the bang is for their buck or what it is that they're getting for their money. So, for example, right here in downtown Detroit, and real estate is booming, meaning that you cannot build enough down here in downtown Detroit. They have the Hudson site, which is going to be one of the largest buildings that is built here in Michigan and specifically in downtown Detroit going up. And I am literally waiting for my unit to become available because I plan on moving into it because it's right in the center of downtown. Why? Because I've always dreamed of living a New York lifestyle, but I was unwilling to leave Detroit because this is where my home is and this is where I'm going to be immersing myself in the culture as far as always giving back into the community. So when they announced that they were actually building the Hudson Center, I said, oh my God, that is perfect because now I truly get to immerse myself in the way that I usually do when I'm living in or I'm going to visit New York, right? I can live, work, and play all in the same area. And as a matter of fact, I don't even need a car if I don't want a car, right? Most of the people that I know, they walk to work, they walk to the gym, they walk to the grocery store. They're getting back to the thing that makes it attractive to live in an urban area. If a Pistons game is, they'll walk to the Pistons game. They walk over into the ice skating rink. They walk to the restaurant. They go and interact with their friends. They walk to the park. They do different things that's going on in the city. And so that is what developers are banking on and depending on in order to get people to move into these luxury apartments. And then you get to also live a maintenance-free lifestyle. So that is the attraction to it from a lot of people's perspective, right? The maintenance, the water heaters, the property taxes, all of that other bullshit, people don't want to deal with it. They just want to make it really clean and easy, which is something that I love to do, which is why I then live. Yes, I did order a Lamborghini. It's supposed to be here in 3 years. That is going to be a car. That's my dream car. I got to have it, which is one of the things that I wanted to do. And so the places that I own, I rent out to other people, and then the lifestyle that I live is completely different. But let's continue.
Here's a look inside of one new development in the city.
Right now, we are in the Ballpark District of Washington, D.C., one of the emerging neighborhoods that is downtown adjacent. And this neighborhood has gone through a tremendous transformation over the last 20 years as part of an overall plan to create an extraordinary place. This building was completed in 2020.
Reading Super Chat shortly. Thank you, guys.
And this is the Kelvin Apartments, which is 300.
Somebody said, how's Detroit's public transit? I actually literally just caught the Q line to the office today. I was walking over and I caught the Q line to the office today. That's how I was recording everything that was going on in downtown Detroit. Thank you, Justin. I'm definitely going to be reading the Super Chat shortly.
12 apartments, over about 60,000 square feet of retail, adjacent to our sister building, which is the NV condo, which is 127 condos.
This development is currently valued at roughly $230 million.
Transit-oriented development creates the best outcomes overall because of the proximity to jobs, the proximity to educational opportunities, but is also the most difficult. You're creating not only deep foundations.
I'm going to show y'all the Lamborghini that I ordered in a minute after I get through with these.
For underground parking. You are often building over metro lines and transit lines. You're also taking care of the neighborhood in terms of its aesthetic.
Living in this lifestyle does cost a premium for the renter. 2-bedroom apartments in this building can rent for over $3,000.
2-bedroom apartment, 2-bathroom. Now I know this is going to make, let me blow this number up for y'all a little bit. I know that's going to make some people upset. 2-bedroom, 2 bathrooms, right in the middle of everything. $3,500. 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. How do y'all feel about that? I'm looking at y'all in the chat right now. How do y'all feel about that? A lot of y'all like, oh no. Look at it. King Collins said, ew. Chester said easily. Big Sug says yes, DC for sure. Arizona seemed to have a lot of affordable houses. Swimlock gave the dead emoji. Glenn Broner said Jesus, that's a lot. Kadash says G's. Swimlock says no. Mel Duke says no way. Arthur says not too bad. It's an easy 1750 split between roomies. It's Black Beauty, but Black Beauty is used to be in New York, so I know she's thinking differently. That's more than what people make in a month. My 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom downtown is $2,300. Decent, couldn't do it. Nope, that's regular for DC. I'm good. Rather pay that as a mortgage than rent, which you can't afford. Which you can afford it. Sounds about right for DC. Outrageous. Y'all feeling some type of way about that. $6,000. Let me tell you what I'm willing to pay. I'm gonna tell you what I'm willing to pay. I don't know about this particular place, but for a place that I want to live in, because I always believe, and I've always believed this to my core, you rent where you live, and you rent out what it is that you own. So everything that I own, I rent out, and then I want to rent where I want to live at. I've always believed that to my core. A lot of people still ask me, why do I believe that? But we'll get there. Maybe I'll explain it to y'all and I'll go over y'all. For my budget, what I'm willing to spend on a monthly basis for a place that I want to be in at the, with the view that I want and things like that, I'm willing to spend up to $10,000 a month. I'm willing to spend up to $10,000 a month. Now, I don't pay $10,000 a month today. But my budget, I'd be willing to spend up to $10,000 a month for a place that I want to live at, to live, work, and play all in the same area, and if it's ideal. And I mean, it'd have to be basically the best, ideal, whatever. But I'll spend up to $10,000 a month and budget about $120,000 a year if I wanted to do that. I don't mind doing that. So.
Single bedrooms can rent for over $2,000. Perhaps more surprisingly, those prices are technically affordable for 40% of the households in Washington, D.C. And this pattern, where the top 40% of earners can afford housing while others struggle to find affordable housing, can be found in cities across the U.S.
So you often see new housing branded as luxury, in part because it's new. I will say in my personal experience, I've seen pretty high quality, affordable, subsidized housing that could compete with any luxury housing. I've also seen pretty old, tired housing still branded as luxury that,
because you're paying for location.
Housing out there.
Here's another building that was completed in 2009.
Luxury, it's definitely not. But maybe a little bit up standards, like a little bit.
The building has about 300 units and is worth over $129 million.
Appearances-wise, and from the outside, this flat looks amazing. It is amazing, and there's so much light and the location and everything. But then when you actually live here, there's so many tiny things. In total, it's 30 maintenance requests in a year. And
yeah, she got a lemon. You got to actually find a place that's actually good and built well and things like that, that got a really nice security and all of that other type of stuff. But yeah, she's overpaying.
5 months, so it's quite a bit.
Days before this interview, a malfunctioning dishwasher flooded parts of Carolyn's apartment. Building management brought in industrial fans to dry the space.
No, that's not.
It's 75 decibels. I measured it. And it's quite tiring, like your head becomes like this.
Many other tenants have raised concerns with the build quality in this complex, citing thin walls and repeated issues with water and other infrastructure. In a statement to CNBC, the property manager of this building said that occasional maintenance requests will be resolved as quickly as possible.
Every home builder has a list of complaints. Every, landlord in a multifamily apartment, you can Google and find, complaints against literally any landlord out there. But I've been to a lot of these communities and
nope. I've never had a tenant ever complain about anything in any of my houses. I've never had a tenant, not one tenant, ever complain about anything that's going on in any of my houses. Not one tenant. I've never had a complaint, ever. But if you're paying that type of money, if you're paying $3,000, if you're paying $1,000 a month, you should not be dealing with anything maintenance related, which is one of the reasons why you go into a luxury, quote unquote, luxury apartment in the first place.
And those communities are beautiful, and they have all kinds of amenities like a swimming pool and a gym. And because these are large-scale communities, that means that the landlord has a large-scale service, usually on site.
Some of what's happening here is related to changes in the real estate business nationwide.
What we've seen in the last 10 to 15 years is that developers used to get capital, develop a property, and maybe sell it
Got it.
as condos
Yep.
or have it as rentals, and they would hold on to the property. But right now we're seeing real estate developers with a different model where they're building a property then to quickly sell it off to a real estate investment trust. So it's sort of build to sell as opposed to build and hold.
Which the difference is that then they cut corners and they looking to get a quick flip, which then prevents them from actually putting the level of effort that they're supposed to put into in order to ensure that it's actually a quality place for people to live. They're cutting corners and they basically flipping real estate in order to get a real estate holder to buy and purchase the property for them. And so they do the minimum amount possible in order to pass all inspections and things like that. I've never dealt with that. I've never had that problem in any place that I've ever stayed at. I've never had a problem like that. I've never had thin walls. I've never had to worry about it. And so, but yeah, that is a thing. That's an issue.
When you build a property and then sell it to a real estate investment trust that is controlled by Wall Street, it puts a lot of pressure on the tenants. Some of the rental crisis that we have in terms of unaffordable rental market right now is somewhat related to this new model of build to sell and sell to Wall Street.
But that's the high end of the market. When it comes to more affordable housing, the government typically plays a much bigger role.
If you look back historically, there's always some balance of public and private involvement. We run into challenges when whoever's owning and running the housing either isn't well capitalized or isn't properly motivated.
Now, the government's using a tax credit to encourage more building.
So the loan
So we don't need to get into that aspect of it. The point that I'm making is that everything is being deemed and termed luxury or luxury apartments or luxury holdings, or you would have, you can easily live, work, and play all in the same area. But be careful, right? I think that what people don't understand that say, well, you can get this or you can stay there. This is happening all across the United States of America. I don't care where you go. I don't care if you go to Ohio. I don't care if you down in Florida. I don't care if you in Texas. Everything is being outsized, and the middle class is completely being priced out. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. People think that they're safe. You're not safe. You know why people are deciding to get relationships and get into marriages today? They're not doing it for the same reasons that they used to do it in yesteryear. They're doing it because they need somebody else to carry a percentage of the burden that comes along with holding on to that particular mortgage, or, for them to be able to survive, or maybe they can split their costs in half. Women today, even men today, I hear them say it all the time. They say, yo, I'm not, my partner. Their partner, meaning that they're willing to share in whatever it is that costs and then hopefully get some benefit out of it, including maybe a little bit of box, maybe a little bit of head, so on and so forth. But people are saying my partner now. They're not saying my husband, my wife, or the person that I love and stuff like that. They're saying, listen, what do you bring to the table? That term was not coined as a result of somebody getting swindled by another person that they were married to, as far as in a relationship where they're getting their heart hurt. That term was coined because people are starting to look at everything from a business perspective, whether they know it or not, because they're trying to look at the cost benefit analysis of getting into a relationship with you. Okay, well, if I take care of you, or you living in this house with me, what is it that you contributing into this house? Or what is it that I'm getting out of it as a result of it? And so what I'm telling you is that now we've gotten to the point in society where you can't afford to not live on your own, even if you're not in a relationship. Most of y'all got a roommate, or you got somebody that you're rolling with, or you might even be in a relationship that you're just unwilling to leave because it's costing you too much to be able to live on your own. And you did the research and you see how much it's costing out here. And in order for you to survive, it's a completely different conversation. It's the truth.